Hi everyone, welcome back to Lotus Me Bloom podcast. I know that it's been a minute and I do apologize. I honestly didn't even realize how long it's been since I recorded because trust me, just because I'm not actually uploading doesn't mean that I'm not thinking of ideas or executing them. It's just that the actual putting them out or getting to the point of sitting here and recording, I just realized, oh wow, I actually have not posted and I've had ideas. But if you guys follow me over on TikTok, you guys know that I post a lot there. And I do always say that, hey, I'm going to make a podcast about this. And then, something happens. So I do apologize. And I do hope to, start posting more. If you're new here, my name's Madison. I like to talk about things that I have learned and just what I'm going through navigating adulthood. Speaking of adulthood, I'm going to be 27 this Saturday, which is insane. It makes me feel very old because I feel like 27 is that age that's fully adult. I know that 25 is technically that age, but for some reason in my head growing up, 27, you have your shit together, right? And I don't, but we're getting there. And so this episode's going to be about basically updating you guys on what's going on in my life, exciting news. And then I also want to just kind of share a lesson that I have learned and give you guys some advice that might be going through the same type of thing. First of all, I just want to share that I might be having some mic issues, so I do apologize for that in advance. I don't know what's going on. This mic has been with me for a while now, and it's never had issues. I'm not sure what happened, but it's just not sounding as great. But anyways, I do want to update my area. I've been saying this. I know I have actually been wanting to do so. I have time. It's just that I don't know what vibe I want. And obviously I have this very little space. And now this space has also turned into my mom's office because she works at home. So I don't have a whole lot of room to do things. And I still, I like the crystals and everything like that. It's just not something I super resonate with as much. And I would love to put more of my personality in my podcast or even decorate it, put a pumpkin or something. I don't know. I'd want to get creative. Loving so many podcasts right now. Loving Just Trish. Love her podcast. I love the pink vibe and I would love to have a little bit of that in here. But, it is what it is. And I just had to get on here because I need to let you guys know I am doing okay and I am living and I'm well. Because I feel like I truly have not talked to you guys in a while. So if you're new, I do have a video podcast. If you're listening on the audio, it's on YouTube, lotusmebloom.com. So let me just dive right into it. What's going on right now? I need to let you guys know because in many of my episodes, I have talked about, having faith when you don't know where your life is going and trusting the process. And I have been doing that actively. While I'm telling you guys to do that, I also was doing it. I have shared that I wasn't the happiest in my situation and mostly to do with work and career. And so with all that being said, I'm going to nail school, which is insane coming out of my mouth because if you guys would have told me in January I was going to nail school, I'd be like, you got the wrong girl. Sorry. Just because I never truly imagined myself going to nail school ever. I've gotten suggested it a couple of times, oh, why don't you try nail school? It's a short program and stuff. And I'm like, no, never really saw myself doing nails. Now, granted, I've shared that I always saw myself in the salon somewhere. I skipped trade school in high school that I always kind of regretted when I got approved to go into cosmetology. I got accepted, not approved. Sorry, wrong word. But I have been living off this quote, and I don't think I've got to share it with you guys. If you guys follow me on TikTok or something, I'm sure I have. But I saw this quote, because I also was going through the gigs, of just thinking of like, what am I doing with my life? Like, really, I would say July is when it really hit me. Like, something shifted, and I want to share that whole experience with you. But that's kind of when I was like, oh shit, like, I'm really unhappy and it sucks. So I guess I'll just start there. Okay. So me and my boyfriend, we go take a little trip on our 5-year anniversary. And I got to, obviously have a good bit of time off from work because we also closed down at work, like 4th of July and like the 2 days before 4th of July. So the 2nd and the 3rd. So I took off like I took off the whole week because our anniversary was on Sunday. So I came back, and for once when I was on this trip, I like finally got to a place where I was like, okay, my head is turned off. I don't have to think about everything. I don't have to worry and stress so much. I can finally relax. And that's really hard for me to do. And that's something that I've been actively working on, trying to find time to have fun and relax without the pressure of, thinking about everything 24/7 like I do. It's just how I'm built, I guess. But we come back, and I knew that I was unhappy. Mostly this has to do, like I said, with career, but I didn't realize how unhappy I was until I came back. And so that like high that I was on really started to crash. Now, obviously, I think we all have heard, when you come back from like a really exciting experience, obviously the high comes down and you get the low. I experienced that when I went to my Sedona women's retreat in 2019. But this was just different because I realized like, I had known I was unhappy where I was at, but I almost like got really depressed, and I was like, wow, this is actually affecting me a lot more. And granted, I had a terrible first day back to work. Like, I had customers just extremely rude, just nothing was really going right. I just, just some bullshit. So that's when it started for me, and I was really just trying to surrender, truly surrender, give it to God. I prayed so much of like, God, I'm tired of trying to figure this out. I don't want to figure this out anymore. Because I always was like, what should I do? I had looked into nail school, I think even before I went on this trip, like, because I was trying to think of anything, guys. I was trying to think of anything I can do to get me out of my job and like start a career. I had been heavily thinking about real estate for a while. I would say since the beginning of the year, since January, I thought about messaging someone I knew about real estate and asking them questions. I have a friend at work that is also going into real estate. And so, I was really going back and forth. And then I was like, no, I don't think it's for me. And then, some time went by and I started thinking about it again. And then I was like, nail school really is short. It is a short program. I didn't realize it at the time. There was a girl that we were working with who just recently quit, but she is also going to nail school. And my best friend was like, yeah, nail school's only like a month or two. And I'm like, what? I didn't know this. I knew it was short, but I didn't realize that short. So that was enticing, right? And I was like, okay, but I don't really want to do something that I'm not like 100% sure about doing. So I, just went back and forth, and I came to the conclusion I was not going to do this because I was like, I don't know. I was at the point where I don't want to just do any more side quests. I've talked about this a lot, but Reiki kind of felt like a side quest for me. I loved it. I do think it was part of my mission here. I do think it was part of my purpose, but it was a side quest. It wasn't like what I really truly wanted to do in my heart. Or what I want to say, it wasn't something I wanted to do forever. And I came to the conclusion I did not want to put any more time or money on something that isn't going to be my forever. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. So that was before all of this happened. I might have looked it back up in like July just to look at prices of schools and like where I would go and things like that. So I'm trying to think. I brought it up. So the girl that I've been getting my nails done by, I brought it up to her on my last appointment with her because she went on maternity leave. So that was like July something. I was like, yeah, I was kind of looking at like nail school, but I don't know. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of girls already doing it. And, you know, she's been doing it for 5 years. And she's like, yeah. And never really thought about it. And then I remember bringing it back up. I had gotten my nails done by someone else because obviously I didn't know who to go to anymore. And she had said something about, you know, there's an accelerated program somewhere. And, you know, we just briefly talked about it. So that was, I think, all in July or beginning of August was when I had the second conversation. And then there was the beginning of August. I remember just having a complete breakdown. It was specifically after we went and saw Deadpool, which I know is so random. Me, my boyfriend, and my brother all went and saw Deadpool in the movie theaters that weekend that it came out. And I think I already was kind of feeling some type of way, but I was not like PMSing. I couldn't really chalk up to like any of that, you know, because I always blame my hormones for everything. So I was like, no, it's not that. Like, I think I just deeply in my core am unhappy. And so I remember after seeing Deadpool, there's something that happens to me when I watch movies sometimes, because in my heart, I love acting. I love that realm. I do. It's like, it's something that really gets to me, because it's something since I was a kid, I've always wanted to be doing it. And I just remember just having this literally mental breakdown, like just crying and just going back and forth mentally because, you know, I've been trying to surrender more to God. And, you know, I'm on this in between journey of like balancing everything that I've ever believed. And I was like, well, maybe I'm not supposed to want what I want. And, you know, maybe that's for the best. And I have to surrender to that. And, you know, I have a whole TikTok in my draft I've never posted just because it's it was a very personal one, because like a part of me is like, well, this also feels like I have to do it, like life or death type of thing, you know? So after that, I just, you know, I kind of shrugged it off and was like, okay, well, something's going to happen. And I did feel like something was really good going to happen. Like I did, like once I started surrender, like I just felt like something was changing. And it's just weird because I was going through all of this and it's very internal, like very, very internal. So then in the beginning of August, soon after this, it was like the next week, I had to dog sit for my aunt. So me and my boyfriend stayed out at her house. And when we were staying out there, I almost went through like this whole other, like, I don't want to say death and rebirth, but almost, because I realized like how much I actually would enjoy having my own place. Because I think for the longest time, you know, I don't want to say convince myself, but I am comfortable living at home. I like living at home. I like that my family's around, and I know one day like I will really miss that. And I guess a part of me kind of likes feeling like I'm still a kid, even though I'm not. But I realized when I was out there, like, man, I actually really do want my own place. And like, I liked the routine that me and my boyfriend were on. And, you know, obviously I don't have the means to go get my own place right now, but there was just a lot of stuff shifting inside of me is the moral of the story with that. And on my day off that I was dog sitting, I need to get my nails done, and the girl I had went to previously, like after my chick went on maternity leave, she was booked. So I messaged this girl that my sister used to go to at the salon that I go to. And weirdly enough, she did post on her story that she had an opening, and I didn't like even see it, but I messaged her like at like 7 a.m. and I was like, hey, do you still have that like 10:30? I would take it, or like that 10 o'clock. She didn't really message me back, so I fell asleep. I woke back up, and at like, I don't know, it was like almost 30 minutes before, she's like, I read that she could do it, and I was like, oh shit. And so I was like, oh my God, I just saw this, like I can try to make it there. And she's like, let's do 10:45. I can do that. Okay, perfect. So I go there, and like I said, this is just such like spur of the moment. I was telling her just like, you know, how I feel about stuff. And I was like, I actually looked into nail school and stuff. And, you know, I said, at this point, I already was like, I'm not going to do it. And then she really was like talking me into it. She's like, no, you should do this, girl. Like, there's not enough people in this area doing it. I make really good money. Like, all of, like, literally just like that the answer to my prayer, because she was being so helpful. Literally, I've never went to her in my life. I know of her, but I don't know her. And she's sharing all of this stuff and like just telling me everything that, you know, some people are like really weird about sharing. So I leave that appointment just being like, okay, maybe I actually should do this. Like, this is actually something that sounds like I could do it, and it would really help me in my future and what I want for my life. So I'm in the car, and I'm pretty sure my best friend calls me. I don't know if I called her, but I think she called me, and she was like, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, I just got my nails done. And she's like, oh my gosh, I just got my nails done. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know? And I was like, dude, I was talking to her, and I feel like I should go to nail school. Like, I feel like, and my best friend also has always talked about going to nail school, and we never like really talked about it, but you know, it's something that we've like just like brought up like in quick conversation. And she's like, no, seriously, we should. And I'm like, oh, seriously? Like, okay. Like, and so we were just talking about it, and just talking about like the money we could make and things like that. And because me and my best friend both work at the same job. We work at this, we've always, weirdly enough, like always have had the same job. Like, we had our very first job ever together. Then we worked at a different restaurant together. Usually she starts out first and then I follow her, but and then she's been at this restaurant that we're at like for like 6 years or so. And I'll be coming up on 2 years in November. Well, so literally ever since then, like we seriously were talking about it, and it's just been ever since then. Like, in this, the girl that I was talking to, she told me about a school, and she's like, yeah, there's an accelerated one. Like, you can go and get it done in 6 weeks. I'm like, what? That's insane. And I had heard, you know, from the other girl I went to that there was an accelerated program. So I'm doing all this research. I'm looking stuff up. And then I finally, I click on this one school, and that was the school. It was the school that was like really affordable. And there was a 6-week program. It's actually 5.5, but I think there's just like, you know, a little time in between so you can get it done in 6. So I'm looking all this stuff up for us. I'm sending my friend prices and everything. And long story short, ever since then, it has been pretty much just a conversation we kept having over and over. Like, let's do this. Like, let's look at the dates. When would we do it? So there was the next time that we could actually sign up was September 17th. And then there's an October 29th one for the 6-week full-time program. There were other options. There was like a night program where we could, you know, do 3 days a week at work and do 3 nights. But mind you, our school is an hour and a half away, and we would be getting back super late. Like we would have gone, I think it was like 6 to 9. Like it was a very short, like the night ones, but we wouldn't get back till like 11 p.m. She has a daughter, and also the night ones turned into 4 months. And obviously we want to just get it done so we can start doing this. And yeah, it was something that, like I said, I had a lot of discussions with myself and my boyfriend and my family of just like the pros and cons. And ultimately, like, yeah, I didn't want to just do this to get out of my situation of, you know, just being a waitress, but I want to be able to have more freedom in my life. I've always loved working for myself. Before being a waitress, I worked for myself for years prior. It started out working at a Herbalife shake shop, which is pretty much you're self-employed. Like that's how you do your taxes and everything. And then I went from doing Reiki and reflexology. So I do miss that. And then when I started waitressing, it was kind of nice because it's like, oh, it feels nice to be a part of a team and everything else. But when that becomes more stressful and like that doesn't, more of the story is I rather work for myself. So I already like have knowledge of that. I have knowledge of like booking and, you know, just the forms and what that entails of like, you do work more for yourself. You're constantly like replying to people. You don't want to have off hours, you know. You have to have really good boundaries, but you know, there's pros and cons, and you're always kind of working when you do work for yourself. But I will take that over working, you know, basically where I can't have control of my schedule. The thing is, guys, like where I'm working now, waitressing was supposed to just help me out doing Reiki. It was supposed to help me get my rent paid because where I was at was pretty high rent. It was just supposed to help me out. And eventually it turned into something that was supposed to be very part-time, and it became full-time. And I do enjoy acting. I do enjoy doing that creative stuff. And I have found that I can't do that with the schedule that I have at my current job. Like I can't just like drop everything if a great opportunity comes along of like, hey, auditions for this, but you have to have Thursday, Friday. Like I can't just do that. Yes, I can give a shift away, but it's not like that simple. Most of the time we don't have girls to pick up. Like it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. And like, I want that freedom. And so, yes, initially I don't feel like it was like just because I wanted to do nails, you know, like it was mostly for a lot of other reasons. So we went back and forth, me and my friend, in the very end of August, we went on a tour to the school, and I was getting so excited, you know, I was really excited about this new venture and everything. And this is where the lessons start. Okay. This is where I'm going to leave you guys with something that I've had to work through, and that is working through your doubts and working through those negative thoughts that come up when you're really, really close to changing your life. So I was really excited. I'm like, let's do this. Let's do September 17th. Like, let's just start now. But I knew September 17th was going to be way too soon. I went on vacation the 6th, and we didn't get back till like the 13th or 14th. The 17th is when I went back to work. That was when I would be getting, so like me going to school, like we hadn't even told our boss, like because mind you, doing the 6-week program it doesn't allow us to work. It only would allow us to work on Saturdays because our restaurant is not open on Sunday and Mondays, and those are our days off from school. Is Saturday, Sunday, and Monday we have like homework due, I think. Something online's due, but we wouldn't be able to work. and we're going to be exhausted. It's going to be a 7 to 7 day pretty much by the time we commute and everything. So yeah, we have to tell our boss, we're both doing it. And September 17th was way too soon. I didn't have any money saved up. I do have bills. I know I live at home, but I am in a lot of debt, unfortunately. And I was really, chucking away at that. But unfortunately, right now, I've had to cut back and just do minimum payments. And, it does suck because I'm going more into debt. And so like all these things started to come up, right? So I was super excited. We went on the tour and I literally had the worst anxiety ever when I got back, just because I do have health anxiety. There's anxiety I get about driving. I just always feel like if I'm too far away, like something's going to happen, like just little stuff that like I mentally deal with and suffer internally with sometimes. And it is something that I have like worked through. And my boyfriend, really helped me feel better. He's like, Madison, I'm not that far away from you, because, he lives a little bit closer. Not too much closer, but a half hour closer, I guess. So all these things came up and I'm like, do I really want to do this? Like I told myself no more side quests. I told myself I don't want to do anything that's not like what I want to do in my hardest of hearts, Is that a word? Hardest of hearts? I don't know. But, like I don't want to waste my time anymore. I don't want to do something that like, this isn't my dream. Like doing nails is not something like I've always dreamed about, like, so when we went on the tour, the lady's like, why do you guys want to do this? And I let her answer for us because like she actually has always wanted to do this. And so that was like me being like, oh, well, am I doing this for the wrong reasons? And the thing is like later on I had talked to another nail tech, and she was saying how like she started this because she hated her job, and she obviously really fell in love with it. And my boyfriend was like, Madison, you're very creative. I think you're really gonna love doing nails. Like I think you're not really giving it a shot. And I wasn't. I was just thinking of all the doubts. And the thing is when you're really close to something that is going to be life-changing, that's when all of those doubts come up. That's when, honestly, the devil tries you the most. Like, that's when everything is going to come up to self-sabotage. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, we are used to our struggles. We're used to our bad habits. We're used to our maybe in toxic environment because it's familiar. And familiar sometimes to us is better than the unfamiliar, because the unfamiliar is uncomfortable and the unfamiliar is scary because we don't know what lies ahead. And for someone that has anxiety and suffers with anxiety, if you understand me, that is very scary, because someone that has anxiety, you think of A, B, and C. You think of every scenario. You think of how that scenario is going to play out, because we're trying to prevent ourselves from having more anxiety or prevent from, making the wrong decision. So for me, I'm constantly like overanalyzing everything and making sure that I am making the right choice. And so sometimes staying where you're at is more comfortable and it's safer and it's just easier. That's the thing. And clearly, I think that's why so many people in life are still where they're at, because it is scary making changes. It's not easy. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if that risk is going to be worth it. And I've always pretty much been a risk taker. I have learned to love that like unknown fear that I have in a weird freaking way. Like because I know in like the self-development world, once you push back past that fear, that's where the good is. So I have learned to try to be comfortable with that. Like right when I started doing acting classes, I remember being so scared. I'm driving an hour and a half away to be with strangers that I don't know. I never did acting classes. Like, I don't know how this is going to go. Like, this is terrifying. But it's fine because now I'm familiar with it, So the point is, I started to have like a lot of doubts, and I actually was like, I don't think I'm going to do this. Like, sorry, friend, but I just don't think this is for me. Like, really thinking about just my life and like economically, you know, like financially. I don't know if economically was the right word, but you know what I mean. Like, I'm trying to get out of debt, not more into debt. And the thing is, so I get past that. I really start to just like sit with it. And I realized that the idea of that not being in my life anymore, of me being like, okay, I'm just going to stay where I'm at, hurt me more. And that is a huge like indicator that you need to move, you need to change, you need to not be like where you're at anymore. You need to get uncomfortable. If your situation where you're at now hurts you more than the idea of whatever risk you're trying to take, that means you need to take it. If that hurts you more. Because the idea of like me not going to school, even now thinking about it, not that I have not started school yet, it just makes me like sad. It just makes me feel hopeless again, you know, because now that I have gotten past that and I found the excitement again, you know, and I still have my doubts for sure. I still have my doubts of like, is this something I'm actually really going to like? Is this something that's just going to fade like a lot of other things that I do or have done? And, you know, like sometimes I hyperfixate on things, and then when the come down is, you know, not always the best, like it's like, oh shit, like I still like this, you know, just like with crystals, like, oh, I still like them, but like I don't really have that like super happy, excited feeling when I step into a crystal store anymore, you know? So I have doubts, but I really started to like dive into like just nails and watching them on TikTok and, you know, what to expect of this. And, you know, I started to really think I could see myself doing this. Like, this is actually, I don't know why I never allowed myself to like think about doing it, because like I said, I was going to go to cosmetology school. Even after college in 2018 with my associates, I went and visited a cosmetology school, and I was going to be an esthetician, and they kind of talked me out of it because they wanted me to do, you know, cosmetology as well. And I just was like, no, I don't want to do that. So I didn't. So like, I always saw myself in a salon, and it makes sense because like, I do love like that type of stuff. I love the beauty stuff and makeup and all that type of stuff. And I don't know why I never thought about nails, but I'm like, I think that's like one of the quickest programs. It could get me to where I want, and I'm going to have more freedom. I have had the greatest opportunity to the nail tech that told me about going to school. She has literally been so helpful to me. And I didn't even really know her. She was like, I don't want to say stranger, but like, yeah, like I didn't really know her. And she literally has helped me so much. She's like, you can shadow me, I'll teach you. Like, literally, I didn't even have to ask. I did not have to ask. Today I saw her before she leaves for maternity leave next week. And she did my nails for my birthday. I just got black. And I gave her a gift. I gave her some crystals. I gave her a sacral chakra candle, and crystals obviously to help with labor because she's going to do an at-home birth and a water birth. And I got her a couple onesies and like a place, couple gift certificates to a place that she likes to eat, because I want her to know that I appreciate her so much. And I literally, it could bring me to tears, but that's what I'm like, the lesson with all of this is like, you don't know what is like in store for you. I'm sorry, like I had to pause because I just got this full body shiver, because just a couple months ago, guys, I was literally like so down bad. Oh my God, I'm getting emotional. But I was so like what am I going to do? I was honestly for years, like these last few years have been rough. Of just kind of going through it, of just getting by, and it's just, you don't know what is in store for you, and you don't know what lies ahead. You just have to keep pushing on and believing and surrendering. And I think when I really truly just was like, I don't want to figure this out anymore, is when it all kind of unfolded for me. And literally, like, what's meant for you will always find you. That was always one of my very favorite quotes or affirmations I used to say. What's meant for you will find you. And I don't even know if I told you guys the quote that I literally been living. I don't think I did. Oh my God. Okay. The quote that I always was like, or I have been living by when I saw it a few months ago, was, just because it could have been different doesn't mean it could have been better. I found that on Instagram, and literally that is something that I have tried to live by since I've saw it, because I always talk about like, oh, I wish I would have went to cosmetology in high school. And you know what? Just because it could have been different does not mean it could have been better. Okay? I could have went to school and I absolutely hated cosmetology and did not want to do hair. I think everything is exactly how it's supposed to be. If I would have done this earlier, who knows what, who knows? I think sometimes for me, I have to get very clear on what it is I do and don't want. And I have to kind of taste everything for me to be like, okay, I don't want that. That's okay, but not my cup of tea. And this right here, this is the bomb. I think that's just how I am. And the thing is, there's still a possibility that I might hate this. I start school October 29th, which is going to be here sooner than you think. I told my boss the last day before I went on vacation. He was super cool with it. My friend decided to tell him when I got back from vacation, but we both have our deposits down. I have one of my scrubs ordered. I had another one. I didn't like how it fit, so I returned it, but I have everything in place and I am excited. I'm nervous. Yesterday I did kind of feel a little bit down because I was like, damn, I was really chipping away at my debt. I was throwing like $1,000 a month on some stuff, on some credit card, and now I'm making minimum payments and I'm going more into debt. And like, I still have doubts of like, well, what if like this isn't what I think it's gonna be, and what if like I suck, and I have doubts for sure. But for me, this is going to allow me to do what I really, really want to do, which is acting. And, I want to be creative in different ways. So, no, this is not my end game, but I think I would be very happy if nothing else worked out for me and I was in this position. And like, I do think I'm going to enjoy doing it. I already have a spot lined up. I have everything ready to go. I was offered, and that's the thing, like, after I went and saw this nail tech who is at where I get my hair done at, I go and see my hairdresser and I tell her like, thinking about doing this, and she's like, yes, absolutely, you can have a spot here, do it. And so like, it's just weird how something I never truly gave the time of day, I have all this support from people, and just like everything is just working out. And I think that's also a lesson, is like, when something's meant for you, it's not going to be hard. Like, obviously you're going to have challenges, but it's not going to be like obstacle after obstacle. I really don't. I think when you are surrendering and you give it to God, and God gives you what you've been asking for, and you finally feel like your prayers are being answered, I think it just works out. Like, I do. And like, I'm not even joking. The day I went back from to work after vacation, I was crying happy tears because I'm like, I finally feel like my prayers are being answered after so many years. Like the song that keeps like coming to mind, it came on when I was like floating in the pool from this random playlist of like 2000s I was listening to, but it was Florence and the Machine, and it's the song Dog Days Are Over. Sorry, I had to take a second. I'm just getting a little emotional because I truly feel like the dog days are over. I just feel like it feels so good. It feels like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, I feel like the last few years, honestly, I just feel like I've been, you know, walking in the dark and just trying to feel around and trying to feel, and I kind of like, sorry. I just feel like I can see a way now, you know, and it feels really good. And like, it feels good to like cry happy tears. And yeah, initially I think I might have just made this decision based off of everything else and not actually the work itself. But I do think I am a very creative person. And I always used to do like designs on my nails. I actually like have one of my very first like YouTube videos was me like making ladybugs on my nails, or making my nails into ladybugs. I always like did my own toenail designs and everything. So I think it is right up my alley. And I think I will really, really enjoy myself. I do. I think it's going to be a really creative outlet for me. And like I said, I've had so much help from this nail technician that I literally had went to one time prior, and this was my second time going to her today. But I've shadowed with her. I've learned so much already. Like, I'm already like shadowing. I've already ordered stuff that she's told me to order. Everything like has just been so good. And she's been like really just like helping me with my doubts of like, you know, Madison, this is how much I made today. Like, you will be making this in a short amount of months. And, you know, I think at this point, even me doing something, even if I'm not making more money than I am now, will like just be better for me mentally. And physically. I mean, I know sitting all day is not good for you either, but I think it'll be really good for me. And I think not being in fight or flight, like just working in honestly any type of restaurant, I think is like very like fight or flight mode. You're constantly just being stressed about, you know, like tables and customers, and, you know, the food's up, and like, you know, it's hard on your body. Like the first day back to work, and we weren't even that busy. I laid in bed and like, this was only like maybe a week off, guys. Not like, I wasn't gone that long. My calves ached. They just ached all night. I had to go spray magnesium on my calves because they were aching so bad. And then just being so weak by carrying the tray, and like hurting my shoulders and my neck. And like, I have a really bad neck, like weirdly enough too, leading up to vacation. I just think you'll get signs. That's another like little lesson for you, is like, not for you, but something I've learned and that I'm sharing with you, is that like prior to me going on vacation, I literally was having such bad headaches because my neck is so bad. And the signs that I have gotten after making this decision is just like, it's just little stuff that I'm like, okay, this is confirming that I made the right choice. Like I can't think of like specific things, but just like little things where I'm like, you know what? Yes, this is like, it's just affirming over and over, like I doing the right thing. Like, this is it. This is for me. And it just, like I said, it'll just work out. If it's meant to be, it'll work out. And when little things like that happen, it's just like, me getting a place, or maybe even having your Instagram handle, the one you wanted, like, available. It's just little stuff that's like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to do this. And so that is a huge life update for me. I obviously have like went through like other stuff, but like that's like the hugest one that started in July. And I just kind of want to share this because I feel like it's so easy to feel stuck and feel like you don't know where you're going in life, and you feel like there's no way out of a situation, or you've been pushing on for so long, like, when is anything going to get better? And I'm just here to say that, like, there will be things that will happen that you had no idea was like in store for you. I truly, like, I used to shut the whole nail thing down all the time. Like, no, I used to literally say that is the least, or like last thing I would ever want to do in a salon is do nails. I literally would say, like, no, that's the last thing I would ever want to do. I did not want to do it. I never thought about doing it. I was like, no, I don't want to do people's nails. Like, but now I'm like, actually, that sounds awesome. Like, sometimes we are in our own way, and we don't really quite know what we want for sure. And sometimes we shut stuff down when we don't really give it the time or day, And so, yeah, it's going to be great. Like, even where I'm going to be at, I can do spray tans. I think I'm really going to enjoy it. And I'm already like thinking about how I can dress up, and like I miss being able to like wear cute clothes, because like I have cute clothes but I don't really go anywhere or do anything, and I'm like, oh, I can actually like wear that. And like all these girls at the salon always dress up, and I'm just already thinking about everything, and I just like can't wait, because like I'm already thinking about, of course, like there are little doubts that I have, but like I'm just manifesting that I'm gonna get clientele, like, and I'm going to start making good money. And the amount of money that my nail technician is making is way more than what I'm making now. So just that alone, and having freedom over my schedule, will allow me to be able to do more things that I want to do too. Like, and not like feel like I'm just working my life away, or like, yeah, I'm really excited about this next chapter, and I wanted to share because the devil will try you when you are like so close. And I think when more doubts and more things come up that make you want to just like throw in the towel, I think that's the biggest sign to keep going. Because like I talked about this on TikTok a little bit, but like sometimes you'll get little stuff where it's like, it's just not the right time, and in your heart it's not the right time. Like there was a house on Facebook Market that I could literally afford. It was enough size, perfect location, but obviously it's just not the right time right now. I'm going to school, like I'm not going to be working, and it does suck because I am not going to be working up until the holidays. I get done in December, so like I'm not going to have a whole lot of money for the holidays, which sucks. And driving back and forth, all that anxiety. But in my heart, I knew that wasn't the right timing. But I think when it's something so huge that literally is going to be life changing, and you have those doubts and you have those things come up, that's just like, also I think sometimes God's like, you have to keep believing in me and trusting me, and like, we got this, like, can you push through? And I think the devil just tries us really, really hard, because the devil doesn't want you to better yourself or, change your life. It wants you to stay stagnant. So I think when a lot of those things come up, it's just an even bigger sign that you are in the right place and that everything's going to work out for you, and to just keep going. Some people say like anything good doesn't come easy, but like I don't really believe that. I think if it's meant for you, it will be easy, but it's not going to be like so easy. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously everything will work out is what I mean by being easy. Like me just like getting a job lined up, having someone say that I can spot or shadow them, like all of that came easy. But I don't think the actual journey itself is going to be like completely easy because, you know, it's going to be uncomfortable and nothing like, you know, new is going to just be like a walk in the park. You know, I'm going to have to learn. I'm going to have to cut back in my spending, and which I'm having a hard time doing because it's my birthday weekend. But, you know, like those doubts are going to get loud. And I think when you're closest to something that is so big and so for you, I think that is when the doubts get louder. And so I think that's a sign to keep going. And this is just my little story to share that I know someone else might be going through something similar or kind of different, but hopefully you can relate this in some part of your life that, you know, it's not going to be like this forever. If you are in a spot where you feel like nothing's ever going to change, maybe you feel like you've wasted time, or you feel like you're just beating yourself up, because that's where I was, you know, in the beginning of August, of like literally a week prior to me deciding I'm going to go to nail school. I was like so down bad, honestly, of just like, I am so unhappy, you know, I can't do this anymore. I feel so stagnant. I feel like I'm moving in mud. And the thing is too, like, give yourself some credit. I had someone that I went to the Sedona retreat with. We all still kind of keep in contact, but we were talking about spirit animals, and she was talking about the hawk, and I was like, I was seeing the hawk a lot last year. And she was like, oh, that makes sense because like you move shit. And I'm like, what? I posted this on TikTok, but she's like, you move shit. And I took that as like, okay, if you're moving shit, like you're getting shit done, you're going after what it is. And it's like, yeah, you're right. You know, like I appreciated that because I always feel like I'm moving in mud, but I do go after what I want. And I think sometimes we don't see it because we're constantly in our own head, but there's a lot of people that are rooting for you and see the good in you and the progress you have made. So please be easy on yourself as well. But I don't want to keep going in circles, but just know that it's not going to be like this forever if you're going through it, and it literally can change in the blink of an eye, and to just surrender. And I promise there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm just so happy. I really am. Now, granted, I am scared and I am worried still, but like I found that excitement again, because I'm telling you, after that trip, I was like, I can't do this. And it was hard, but I pushed through because I literally thought, like, if I don't do this, then what else? And I'm excited for my future. I really am. I'm excited for what I'm going to be able to do. If I want to go on a trip, I can go on a trip. You know, like I miss working for myself. And it's working for yourself is just really good for people that have a certain lifestyle in their head that they want, of having more freedom. And, you know, it's not always more freedom because you're working more, but you know what I mean? There's pros and cons. If you want me to talk about that, I can do that in a separate podcast. I also want to make a separate podcast just about kind of accepting where I'm at in life too. I have really been coming to acceptance of like, you know, where I am at. And like, I weirdly feel like even at 27, I feel like I have more time than I had previously. Like I don't, and maybe it's because of this new adventure and journey of mine, but I just kind of feel like my life's finally starting, you know, and you know, society standards can fuck off. It's basically what it is. But I'm gonna leave you guys now. I really actually need to hop in the shower because I'm gonna go get a spray tan. But I hope you guys all are doing well, and I'm gonna leave you with "The Dog Days Are Over," because that is kind of like my theme song right now. But if you guys want to follow me, make sure you follow me on Instagram. I don't post like entirely too much. I just post like zodiac memes and stuff on my story, but I post mostly on TikTok. So follow me there. If you want crystals and stuff, I do have everything 50% off on my website still. Just trying to get rid of some stuff. Libra candles. Happy Libra season. I got some Libra candles still on the site, I think. But I will see you guys in the next episode. Hope you guys have a great week. Bye.